Hello and welcome back to Split Decision, of course, on the Double Peak channel. This is episode 13. Yeah, we managed to do it almost 2 weeks in a row, I think. And yeah, we're going to be talking about different roster rumors this time. Obviously, we've just come back from the Red Bull Homeground EMEA qualifiers, but we're going to leave that a little bit and talk about that next week. Obviously, we'll talk about some of the rumors. Now, Mitch, we're looking at EMEA.
Yeah.
There's not been a whole lot since we last spoke about EMEA. We are going to do Pacific and Americas after and give our thoughts on players that we may not have even seen too much of. But there have been a few changes. Now, obviously, again, we're using Flynn's lovely VLR
Yes, indeed.
like little list of all the transfers he's seen coming. Now, I just want to touch on one thing. He hasn't changed the FUT play. To actually signed. I'm looking at it from 3 hours ago. It still said they're rumored, even though they played a tournament.
Yeah, I mean, look, they released a video. I saw CNET on a private jet. I'm pretty sure that he signed. I saw him play a couple maps.
I saw him on a boat.
Didn't look too bad. Oh, you did?
In person.
Yeah, I'm jealous, man. You're rubbing that in. I had a late flight. My first flight got canceled. My second flight got delayed. It was really
Should have
fun.
gone CNET's flight.
Everybody was.
You would have been right on
Everybody
time.
was texting in the group chat. Oh yeah. Let's go on the boat. Oh, the shuttle's a little late. It's all right. Let's all have a lovely cruise together. I believe you were drinking Red Bull all night, Tom. He was wired.
Yeah.
I could hear him in the room next to me. He was vibrating. I think it was him.
I got to hang out with Carcass. I got to hang out with his lovely wife. I got to hang out with Petra, your boy Lewis. Yeah, a load of people. Benji was there. CNED was there.
An afterthought.
And that was the day before CNED was announced. But yeah.
So you thought he was you just ran into him. He was just on a cruise. You had no idea why he was there, right?
Yeah.
Complete surprise to you.
He was tanning, even though it was late at night. No, but to get to the point, FUT have made a couple of signings. We kind of spoke about this before, but I guess we can kind of say look pretty good.
Yeah, super sub of guys. What can I say, man? They have got more depth to that roster than I thought, and I was already giving them a lot of respect, but Jesus, they deserve a lot more. Again, we'll touch on Rebel Homeground and everything that happened over there, but just to say, they played half the event with their coach. They still won it. This is a scary roster for what's coming up in the future.
So I think some of the other changes that we can kind of note. Obviously, Liquid doesn't seem like anything's changed there. Same for Giants, Fnatic. Koi
Camo?
adding Shadow and Camo. Looks like potentially some pretty good moves. I'm a big fan of Shadow. I think especially looking at like the team they've already got. This was always my worry with Koi, and it was definitely one of the problems last season was they didn't really have proper support players. Like, they had people like, oh, yeah, we'll just stick our duelist on Cypher, and then Cold Mental will do the rest. And I won't lie, I didn't really enjoy it. I'm still questioning Starzo as IGL a little bit, but I think Shadow is, if you need a support player, Shadow is the man. He's still fantastic in that role.
I'm interested to see the future that they can mold with this, because Shadow, like, you can't really contest him being in there. Like you said, the guy's been around a long time. We used to watch him way back in the day, from the very beginning. But Camo as well, it's kind of a curiosity for me. I don't think he's proven himself on this level. Like, that would be a huge task for him to come up against. And it says he's a quite likely option. So I don't know how to read into that, whether Koi have gone down the list, because we knew they had a thick list, but every player they went for got poached. Maybe that's just where they end up. They give a young gun a chance, and well, there's nothing to say he can't succeed. It's just a risk that this roster is taking. I think if they go with that building around I'm assuming he'll still be playing a duelist role. It seems to be what his bread and butter is in this game. And looking back at the history, he's a guy that was on GTZ Esports. They didn't make it through the play-ins in Ascension, so way down the list in terms of teams. But hey, that doesn't really say anything. We know EMEA's got a really thick talent pool out there, and maybe he could be a diamond in the rough.
Well, yeah, I guess they've clearly been doing a lot of trials, so I'll make the assumption that he clearly stood out. Other than that, I guess the only real changes we can talk about in EMEA is going to be on Karmine Corp. And
I guess start with Narrate.
I don't know.
Let's start with Narrate. Like, the guy coming from NA, right? Like,
I don't know
they picked him?
anything about him. I'm going to be brutally honest. I have never watched him play. I can't claim to say whether he's going to be a fantastic or not. I can, however, say that they've signed too many duelists.
Yeah, right? That's the thing. Like, because Narrate, you know, again, I don't know the guy personally. I mean, calling him up saying, you know, what agents do you like playing, man? But I'm looking here at VLR. It's a lot of duelists, right? He seems to be a duelist. That's what he's been playing in Mad Lions.
There's also just not a lot of games at all.
Right? Right. And I don't understand cross-region trialing. I don't fully understand how that works, how you come to the position of doing that. Again, late in the signing period, a lot of players are already swept up. But to see him there alongside Tamazi, who we do know, and we know is a duelist, and Martine, who we do know, and we know is a duelist, it's very strange to bring in an import for a role that is already pretty full on your team. So like someone has to be pushing out a comfort zone. And you know, it's just the word vitality. It's just being whispered in the back of my mind again and again. The original Vitality roster, I'm talking 2 and a bit years ago, trash, made of 5 insanely good players, but without the, I would say, thought behind it. I was just
so
like,
you didn't enjoy forcing Shalakby onto a Sky.
No, you know,
was that not?
Well, you know, that's probably one of the lesser offenses is putting a duelist on a Sky, because maybe you can make the argument that, you know, I've seen Jack Igo play.
He's playing with like 80 ping.
Yeah, but if they're blind,
like, there's a lot of agents you can play. Well, I mean, actually, there's not a lot of agents, but Sky, like, let me just pop my flash. Oh, it went off 7 seconds too late.
Well,
like, that doesn't work.
Well, you know what? Maybe it's better than him being a jet, I guess. Just stood out in the open. I dashed, you know, but it took a second, so it's not quite efficient.
I feel like the peaks, the wide swings when you're on
true,
high
also
ping,
true. The
work.
quick swings, yeah.
The wide flashes, maybe not so much. They didn't see the flash coming because they didn't see it at all.
No, you pop flash right before it goes round the corner, and then it's gonna, you know, you just gotta get used to it. It's an adjustment period. But no, it's weird for KC, man. Seeing them sign so many duelists, I don't know if that's it's not. I don't know if it's a mistake. It's proven to be a mistake for people in the past. Now, it's not to say that these guys can't flex. It's just very weird because the only thing we can judge it off now is an eye test. You know, things must be working in scrims and whatever mix and match they've gone for. But when you're having to go to a duelist from another region rather than Scream, I'm a little worried, you know? I think the French fans are going to be hot on their heels if there's any mistakes being made here.
Well, yeah, I think, like, the only thing I can really think... I'm guessing Tomazi of all of them is going to be one of the ones that moves away from Duelist, which... Like, he can flex. We've seen him play, like, KO Sova. Like, he's played a range of different agents, even played a fair bit of Killjoy, and, like, he's got, like, stats of, like, 280 ACS. So it's, like, it's not like it's going to be a problem for him. The sort of thing the question I just have is like, why? And it's the same with like Martine. It's like, yeah, could Martine flex onto, like, he's played 7 games of Brimstone. He can.
Yeah, right. He's done it before.
But then he's also played 67 games of Jet. So it's just like,
I mean, even Tamazi.
I don't know which of them is moving away, and if it is going to be the 2 European players, then I think that's a mistake. But then again, as said, I don't know anything about Narrate, and I can't remember who said it to me, but the conversation was brought up at Homeground, and they were like, "Oh, he's nuts."
It's pretty Pal.
So that's
the
only logic I could go of is that there are people who rate this guy very highly, and if you've played barely any matches and you go straight in to like a challengers team, you've got to be doing something, right?
Sure, yeah. I mean, the weird thing about Tamazi as well, in terms of like, yeah, he can flex, but his top 4 agents, all duelists: Reyna, Raze, Jet. It's going bottom up. Fair enough. His most played agent is Neon, which is just such a rarity to see. I guess you can call him a Neon main. Strange if he's going to be flexing, because I don't know of many agents that play in the same way that Neon does. The rounds won't breathe the same for him. Again, not to say that he can't, but and sometimes you want just mechanically skilled players to learn a new role. That can be easier than finding someone who plays that role and bringing their mechanics up. So, yeah, again, there's got to be ideas there. I don't imagine Eng's coming in and just, you know, rolling a dice, picking names out of a hat by any means. But
it would be a fun way to build a roster,
wouldn't it?
Maybe that's
what was your thought behind this thought? We haven't even gotten there. You're already dunking on them. I love it. I love it.
No, that...
We've got another region to get to before that, but Tom's already like, yeah, these guys suck, man. Yeah, I'm guessing whatever they do, you're going to be like, improvement. improvement because it's not.
I've already tweeted that yesterday. So
Depending on when this video comes out, it might not be yesterday for people at
it
home.
might be more, it might be a few days ago.
Breaking
but I
the
have
immersion, Tom. It's meant to seem like we've recorded this live. It's done on the day.
Oh yeah, it's you're watching it right now.
You're watching it moments after we said this. Yeah.
I knew you would say that.
Don't look behind you. We're not behind you. And if we were, you wouldn't see us.
I guess let's go Americas because we've spent enough time on EMEA.
Let's go.
I think I guess we can just almost go top to bottom. A lot of the rumors are going to be quite interesting, but I think like obviously stuff like Sentinels, not massive amounts of change coming in for them there. Having subs that are better than a lot of team starters is a pretty good sign. Like just like that's the thing that's crazy to me. Zelsus is not even technically a player on the team or is a sub. I don't really know how it works, but I don't know if I'd want to have someone like that on the bench. Like the guy is very, very good. And I think I think he did have a spot in Cloud9 until he just got a better deal from Sentinels.
Yeah, it's strange, isn't it? Like he's been he's been listed as being on Sentinels for the longest time, despite being I suppose on loan. It was the legal situation, but yeah, I think having him as a reserve, not a bad idea. You've got a sick roster there as well. Little John coming over, and taking the IGL responsibilities too. I think you're pretty chilling if you're Sentinels. They've got a lot of pressure on them to pull it across the line. Like I know, what was really cool was over in LA when we were walking around. I was with Psycho and Drew. And Drew had a couple people come up. Psycho had a queue. I mean, obviously he's in the suit. He's like he's an icon.
He stands out.
He definitely does. But the Sentinels fans weren't shy coming up to Drew saying hi, and I was like, man, you better deliver. They're gonna be coming up not saying hi, huh? It'll be interesting to see what they do this year.
Well, he seems to be, like, from my perspective at least, one of the more obvious signings you could have made within Americas. It's like IGLs are still a rarity. Like Vanity's come back. It's not really a surprise. Like, and he had, other than the guard, who basically went straight into G2, he had probably the most success as an IGL. I think this M80 team was fantastic.
So close as well.
If there was going to be a second team that should have made it into the league, it was that team. So yeah, I think a pretty obvious pickup. Also someone who seems to be able to like flex onto a range of different agents. It's the classic Sentinels move. Let's just buy the obvious choice, and it should in theory work. The thing is still, it's just like, expectations on this roster off the charts. Can Tens get back into like god form? Does he need to? Like that's the other thing. Sassy and Pancada, again, we know what we get, and I think Zekan is still one of the best players in the entire region. So I think that Sentinels have a great team, and especially with a lot of the other teams within Americas falling apart, they're in a very good spot. I don't think they need to do too much more. Cloud9, for me, is also a bit of an interesting one because it's like, firstly, Vanity coming back, I just think is funny. Like, the fact that the guy was removed at the very beginning of the season, now they've removed MCE. I think there was something that said that Zelsis was the one who actually built this team with EMEA as coach and then left. So it's just... I think EMEA is a great coach, so I don't have a problem with that at all. I just think it's very funny, and it also looks sus with like Vanity coming back. That like, was there something else there? I also think Oxy is cracked, so I think that he's going to be someone to really keep an eye on in that roster.
Yeah, well, they came in already. They just played in 10 Global Invitational, right? Same roster that's rumored.
Yeah.
So we got to see them. They obviously didn't look that bad taking the dub. So I guess there's a tendency now for those newer rosters to come in and claim wins after what we saw with FUT. Maybe that's going to be NA's FUT. I think like any team with Vanity behind them, especially EMEA as a coach, it's difficult not to get behind them. It's strange though. Yeah, I wonder where, because I'm just looking down through the list. I didn't see him earlier. Zelsis isn't rumored on any other roster, is he? And one more player just to throw out there as well. Maybe I'll mention him when we get to some of the other rosters, like 100 Thieves, for example. But BCJ, I saw that he signed. Not to whom, but he sent out the little contract signing gif. He said, I'm back a couple days ago.
The rumor was M80, right?
Is it?
That was the.
And that would make sense.
I think that was the
Psycho
rumor.
over there. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like again, just happy to see him come back. And actually, speaking of players coming back, I'm really happy to see Whippy back. He's one of the ones where I'm like super surprised.
That's an EMEA move.
Yeah, it is an EMEA move, but it's not one where I'm like, oh, I haven't seen him in a while. That's weird. It's like, oh, I haven't seen him in a while. Why have I not seen him in a while? This guy,
fucked up.
In terms of like Sentinel play as well, was one of the best in Americas, and then just seemed to disappear off the face of the earth. Like, obviously, we sort of like he's played a lot of sort of like mixed team tournaments recently, and I think played in like G2 as well. But it's like in terms of tier 1, I think he should have already been there. So the fact that he's now like reuniting with some of his old teammates, I think the roster looks good. I'm still, it's almost like there's a few teams I think that they'll have to try and get to the level of. Like, I'm looking at a G2, definitely a Leviatán as well. So I think that's definitely going to be a sort of interesting roster. And then we go down to the 100 Thieves, which I don't know where I sit with this one, because I still like a lot of the 100 Thieves player. I think getting EU as well, it's another sort of like a player who played for M80, did fantastically well, but finished second. Again, it seems like one of the more obvious choices. Again, I feel like 100 Thieves and Sentinels are in that bracket of just go, oh, we need to sign someone who was really good from the league below. Get the best one, put them in. I don't know if it's enough to make them a challenger for a title though, or like for internationals. Looking at everyone else.
Yeah, that's another one that I was obviously disappointed seeing. Two players that I really like, Com and BCJ, both rumored for 100 Thieves, both taken out of the rumor list. I think they're confirmed that they're just removed. And it was still a thought that I had with Nature being the only player there I think that's rumored. What was it? Just possibility, not even a likely possibility, is his current rating. So
well, even Boostio's gone from that list as well. I am starting to wonder if just like whatever buyout they have is just too much.
It could be.
Because I think looking at that, like, don't get me wrong, I think
100 Thieves though
would be a great signing, but like,
isn't 100 Thieves the roster that once I heard that the plan to fix the roster...
This is Mitch's rumors. This is what we're getting now.
Technically, it's not my rumors. I would call it my leaks because someone told me it and said, don't ever tell anyone. But I don't think this is going out to many people. It's fine. You guys keep it a secret. I'm pretty sure their plan was to sign TENS for $2 million at one point. So I like when things just weren't working. I heard that.
But okay. Let me ask you this.
Solution.
Was that peak crypto time?
Aha! You are correct. It was peak. I mean, it was when 100 Thieves were doing nothing, right? So yeah, maybe that is a valid insight.
The crypto money went there.
They had $2 million for TENS. now they ain't got money for buyouts. Again, though, it could be a position which I would very much respect, even if they have the money, of just saying, okay, value wise, are there better moves we can make? Buyouts are scary for a lot of teams because, you know, if you're having to pay $50K to unlock the ability to buy a player, to unlock the ability to pay that player a ridiculous amount of money, then and I don't think a lot of people are coming to 100 Thieves for cheap monthly salaries either. So but I think, you know, Nature as well. I didn't even really notice that BCJ was in red initially because I was thinking Nature plays a similar role. They could both be initiators. Although I think recently BCJ has been flexing anything. Like he's played Sentinel more recently, played Smokes back in the past, plays initiator. I mean, the guy just wants to compete. He'll do whatever you need him to do. So it'll be great to see if he's in M80. I think altogether 100 Thieves though, especially signing in as head coach, right? Zeeks, who used to be on Evil Geniuses, who's been working with this roster for a long time as the assistant coach. So he's a very good signing to, I guess, streamline this team, which is already very promising as well. Like Bang, Asuna, Cryo, we know what they're capable of. I think it's just about getting the right environment around them.
Yeah, I think moving on from there, NRG is one where it's so vague with just like straight rumors and nothing. I don't know how much I even want to touch this roster.
Well, Victor's
if they got Demon 1 and Marved, it's fucking nuts.
Optic, but without, like, with current day, like that's hype as shit.
But no FNS. So,
well, Stellar will have big boots to fill. Let's say it that way. It's going to be tough. But yeah.
They also had Ethan rumored as IGL, which is interesting. But again, like all of this is just
that's simultaneous
rumors.
Oh, I see. Right. I kind of had it in my head. The right side was like going out, but understood. Yeah.
I think
Ethan
that's
or
what
Stellar.
it might mean. It might mean that like there was like their rumor that they're not. They're like the rumors kind of died down. I don't know. I think if there's just not enough space, I think that's
I think that might be what it is there. Rumored as the IGL is Stellar, also rumored as Ethan. You know, they've probably both been trialing, and who knows where that ends up. It's funny to say that, you know, he's there as a rumored IGL. The next one going kind of left to right is Evil Geniuses, which...
yeah, I'm not touching that with a fucking barge pole. Like, I'm gonna be honest.
So fucking sad.
Like, the rumor is just that their whole team doesn't want to be there anymore. It's not really like, if they keep their old team, it's great.
Yeah,
but
if they find
they're not going
a
to by the looks of it.
Somehow you can't.
And also it's not because it's not great because it probably means they locked all of them into contracts they can't leave.
Yeah.
So it's great for Evil Geniuses, horrible for Valorant.
Absolutely. It's the same old bullshit.
We'll move on to Loud, and unfortunately for them, it doesn't get much better because, like, don't get me wrong, if they added QCK and maybe not for anyone else, but you've lost your star. Like, Les is fantastic. I think the rest of the team have done very well this year, but Aspas is a god.
Yep.
And anyone you remove and anyone you add in for Aspas, I'm just gonna say it's a downgrade. So there's also the like, obviously Fraud is gone as well.
Yeah,
which
MIBR.
It's a weird one because obviously there's the question of like their sort of old coach Bazooka, him being there for a year, now being gone. I don't know if
Fraud went to him, right? Like he's gone to MIBR to join Bazooka on the coaching staff. I don't even think that's not rumored anymore. That's
it does
concrete.
Seem like
that's happened.
Yeah, he's signed. So that's very interesting because like I think that obviously it shows that the dynamic is worth it. I also think that, but even still, to go away from Loud, I don't know if that was like a financial decision. We've heard stuff like that in the past, that like maybe Loud doesn't offer the greatest contracts. We've seen players try to leave and players have left. And Sassy and Pancada is evidence of that. It's a shame though, because as a team they were fantastic, and losing Fraud, like from what we heard behind the scenes, the players seem to work well with him. So yeah, I think that definitely a shame, but ultimately it is like I don't think anybody's going to be arguing that QCK is going to be an upgrade to Aspas. So
no,
I'll give credits where it's due and say that Sadak, he's rebuilt the team once. If he does it for a second time, I think we just call him the best IGL in the wild. Like if this team is like top 4 next year, just give him the fucking crown. But this is going to be tougher. This is definitely going to be tougher.
Yeah, I think the roster in worse shape, 100%. I think, losing Bazooka and losing Fraud, then later on, a year later almost, it's not a great look, I think, for a squad that's been consistently delivering, to have so many players, so many of the coaching staff move out of the roster like a revolving door. But I don't think they're going to be anywhere close to the best Brazilian team at this point. Put it that way.
Not even close to the best Brazilian team.
Yeah, I'll give them top 3.
Right. But wait, okay, so which do you think will be the best Brazilian team?
See, if Aspas had gone with Fraud, which would have been the dream, reunite Bazooka, Fraud, get Aspas in. I think though I'll go with MIBR. Bazooka and Fraud, I don't think they take on a roster unless they believe it can be up on top. And then I reckon Loud and Fury are going to battle for that second spot. Like maybe Loud push up to it, but I don't know. Big task.
Like, don't get me wrong, I think that this makes Loud worse, but I still think like even just less alone for me puts them above any of the other teams. I think Les is still like a top 10 player in the world. I think the dude's insane. Okay. So like,
I mean, I wouldn't make that argument for anybody on MIBR. or like that they'd be top 10 for sure.
Yeah, that's the issue. I'd agree with you in terms of coaching staff. I think that they have the better, even based off rumors or anything. I'd say like, but in terms of players, like a lot of them are either just, I wouldn't say the in the top half of like Americas, or they're like up and comers. So like someone like Artzin, that's someone who could potentially be one of the better players. Marzin as well is someone who has been around a while, but again, in terms of success, he's basically just gone from Furia to MIBR. He was on Furia for a long time. Never really saw too much from Furia in that regard, and obviously they've then got rid of him. I'd say MW0 is still someone that, for me, in Furia has the potential to be one of the best. Like, I think individually he's great. And I think Khalil as well has shown some promise. I also hear a lot about Havoc. So it's like, if anything, I would lean more towards Furia than MIBR on actual personnel.
Yeah, I can see that. I think the core coaching staff, having those boys around, like just seeing what they've been able to do in my eyes in the past, I think they'll be able to mold a lot of these guys. Players like Mazen have a ton of potential from all this past in Furia. Even I remember we had a lot of praise from over there, but it's difficult. I think Aspas being there, or swap Aspas out on one of the Sentinels boys, so they've got a core 3 Brazilian, then that's an easy argument to make. But
yeah, you don't have that.
I don't have that. It's not the drink. Can we count Leviatán? Because they don't have a core 3 from really anywhere. So that's just count them as Brazilian team. They've got Aspas. They've got the heart of Brazil.
Right.
If you got a heart from a different country, are you
rather than arguing who's got the best Brazilian team? Let's just look at the team that I think, if we're being honest, or at least in my opinion, goes in as the one I'm most excited for. Number 1, Leviatán. Like I think they 100%. Look unbelievable. Like this roster, not only just getting Aspas, but also getting Tex as well, who was just great. Goked and Itopada. I never know how to say his name properly.
Itopada, yeah, you got it.
He has been. He seems to have done great work at Apex. Yeah. They've upgraded in terms of players. I don't know. King and Mazzino, I still have a lot of faith in. I think this roster looks stacked.
100%. 100%. There is not a single player here that I would look at and say they need to be swapped out. They need to be changed. Like, the coaching staff of Goked is hype as hell. Itopada, as you said, I've heard so many good things about the work that he did on Apex. I know all the players held him in such high regard. So for him, and also I'll say I saw him leaving the team around the same time as the others. So my assumption was that Liquid were scooping him up as well. That there'd be, some sort of assistant coaching role, strategic coaching, whatever it may be. But to see he's made a trip across the pond it's huge. I think also to just show that teams in Ascension in EMEA are being looked at by the global scene, are being scouted by the global scene. That's really big, because I honestly didn't think something like that in just Itopada's case would happen in terms of Ascension. But then the majority of the roster, and even like a lot of the signings here, we're talking about EMEA talent moving across the pond. It's very early days for that in my mind, being what will be leading into still in the first year of franchise. Let's put it that way, in between 1 and 2. I didn't think that would happen yet. So that's really cool. And obviously, we talked about Nature earlier on, or Narrate, sorry, not Nature, coming over. Nature's a guy from 100 Thieves. But Narrate coming over to EMEA. So yeah, we're crossing the talent pools is sweet.
Yeah, I think, like, obviously with that team, just the explosive nature of it, like,
hey,
Aspas and King as a duo alone is filth. Then you've added Tex and already had Mazzino. Like, Mazzino was one of my favorite players of the entirety of 2021. So I think that if they don't finish top 3, then their owner is going to have something to say, because that's a lot of bankroll that's just gone into making that team work. Now I'm looking at KRU. And I'm more excited this year, I think. Like, I think Shy, for me, I thought Shy would actually stay with Leviatán.
Same,
I think a young player who, I think especially if he can get back into playing the initiator role, I think it suited him a little bit better, allowed him to get a bit more aggressive. I think him and Kesnit as a combination could be quite nasty. And I think Kesnet in general is still right up there in Americas. I think he should be on a team that's competing. The difficulty is just, do they have enough depth to like make it to, say, an international event? And that's where my questions are, because obviously they had a horrific season last season right until the end, and then just had the miracle run. So I don't know if I can, like, obviously I still think in terms of their roster from last year, there was a lot more moving parts, and now they've kind of gone back to, hey, this is the Chile team, which I think will help them quite a bit. But and also they've actually got Kesnet from the beginning this time, but I still see them as maybe scraping into the top half of the table, but probably maybe like a 6th, 7th.
Yeah, that's it. And their reputation from last year, like you say, I like you phrase it as a miracle run within Americas, because when they came to champs, they didn't look ready, I think, to play on the international stage yet. It was sort of maybe they got the groove of the regional play, but there was a lot still to be improved on there. Having it sorted early, having a roster to bring to the table. Shy, who's an incredible support as well. Maybe they've got a chance. I don't know that I'm fully sold just looking at some of the other rosters that are going to be in this region, though. Like,
that's the thing.
It's not that I look at any of these and think they couldn't have potential in the future. I think there's a lot of rosters that have a head start, though.
Yeah, for sure. I also am excited to see what MTA is going to offer, because it seems like, at least playing through some of the tournaments regionally, it looked like he kind of farmed. Now, obviously, I think he was playing Duelist, and I don't think he'll play Duelist in this team unless he's forcing Kesnet out, which, hey, if you could do that, fair play. G2. Now, G2 I feel like is a little bit more of an easy one, because it's just the God.
Yeah, right.
At least right now, like we haven't really seen anything else, but it is the God.
Yeah, the guard moving forward, and obviously as well, Jogamo rumored to be in there, but he's listed as a likely option. It's the little star, so it's not likely to stay, obviously.
If it's that team plus Jogamo, top 3.
Yes. Oh, no,
it's just top
there's
3.
no way to even counter argue that. That's just categoric fact.
And even if it says Leaf on the other side as like unlikely, still top 3.
Yep. Yeah, roster has so much goddamn potential. It's unreasonable. I think I want to see Jogamo in there, and I think it's really down to contracts, right? Legal discussion of like, at this point you have Evil Geniuses, their roster is still rumored to be together, right? Technically their players are trialing elsewhere, but that trial doesn't have to go well. It has to go just unbelievably well across the board. And my fear is that you're gonna have like 2 of these guys have sick trials. The org's gonna say, you know what, screw it. I've seen it before. I've been there for it, where a player just does so well in trials. You're like, I don't care. Guy's toxic. I don't care. Guy has a contract buyout, big buyout. I don't care. He's too good to say no to. And then
it's
EG you're left.
Like, G2 got in by like basically spending bank.
Yep.
Like that's what they did. It's like, oh, we can get him by signing the card. Get the fucking checkbook out, boys. And then it's like they're gonna go, oh, sorry. Jorgamo's a little expensive. No, sorry, we don't have the budget for they have the fucking budget. They're just gonna throw money in. They'll be good. Like,
do you reckon they celebrated getting the franchise spot, but no cameras allowed at the after party for it?
Who fucking knows? But anyway, before this turns into like a 2-hour-long podcast, let's go Pacific.
Tom,
now
there's a team in here I know you love. I want to open with it, to be honest. That's
why.
Because I know
I know
your
open
heart.
With me being toxic?
No, you're not going to be toxic, Tom, because we're gonna phrase it properly, okay? Who in this entire region, the whole region, do you think will be the most improved team next year, Tom?
See, I know why you're directing it this way, but I genuinely still don't know if it will be them.
Oh no, don't say that. If the rumors are true. Okay, if all the rumors are true, yeah.
Wait, what'd
you go with?
They don't have any room. Look at the sheet.
I'm looking at the sheet. Sorry, not the word, not technically rumors. If all of the possibilities come to light.
Possibilities and 10% chance and unlikely. If all of those are true, well, half of them is the old fucking roster. Like, What are you trying to get me to say?
Get,
Detonation are going to be better when they have even like a likely. They've got nothing.
If we see Lakia
like,
in
yeah,
there,
if they sign Lakia, who's almost
team.
rumored with Gen G,
the biggest
like,
improvement.
yeah, fuck it.
And that's it. We can give them a medal. We'll make them a guys. If you get Lakia, we have a little trophy. Tom's going to fly over. We're going to be in Japan.
Maybe
we'll
you
be
win
close.
a map.
Infinitely better in Tom's
I've got nothing for them. Like, they should be looking at like young players who have gone through the fucking system, and instead there's still nothing. Which maybe that just means that Flynn doesn't have the right contacts, but he has rumors for fucking everyone else. So I don't want to start with that one.
Oh god.
Obviously, the rumors around ZETA are mostly that they're going to be keeping their old roster.
Yeah, Hero ran as well. That was that's about it.
Yeah, played on Fennel. Seems to be a pretty damn solid player, but just by looking at the stats, Sentinel player as well. So maybe that means they'll put Laz in a slightly more aggressive role, which I'll be happy with.
What a strange player as well, might I say? Because I was looking at some of these Fennel guys. Just because it struck me that a lot of the Fennel players, and I'm sure we'll bring it up as we get through the list, but a lot of these guys got picked up, and they didn't do too well in Ascension. They were top 3, if I'm remembering correctly, losing to Scars and in the lower final, so top 3. The fact that the guy plays Sentinel most and his second most played agent is Reyna, it makes me very angry.
He took after Takage.
Great, that's good. I wish more teams would learn from DFM. That's what I wish. just from the lovely stories you tell me.
Him in ZETA.
It could have been. Yeah, I was watching back the VODs. That's when ZETA saw this agent pool. They went, "Oh my god, we can do it again."
Yeah. See, that's the thing. There's a lot of players like going through Pacific where I don't know as much about. Like, I'd say from the teams that I'm excited for, T1 straight off the bat, very excited for that team. How the fuck they got King, that's another one where I just look at Gen G and go, what the fuck were you doing? Like, from what I've been told by people in Pacific, people within the region, when T1 comes a knock-in, you're on T1.
Yeah.
But I didn't think it would just be to the point where Gen G just go, oh, so, last season when we had a couple of really good players, you just want one of them. All right, cool. Like, that for me, like, I saw that signing, and I'm really happy for him, but for them, I'm just like, why? I don't know why you'd allow that to happen, and I don't know how you're going to rebuild better than King, because I just think, like, unless you're signing someone from, like, DRX, there's not really a better Sentinel player in the region. So, yeah, King, Excurate, Kevin's coming in, Jason's brother. I was told like a year ago by Jason, obviously Forsaken, he's got a business now. He won't play Valorant, and now he's on T1. So I was lied to, but he used to be one of the in Asia. He was probably the best AWPer ever. Like, the dude was unfucking believable. So for me, that's really exciting. I've heard amazing things about Izu as well. Sire players. I don't even need to say anything. Like, the dude's just cracked out of his mind. So I think that, like, this team looks great. Autumn coming in as Autumn as head coach would also be very good. I think they're going to be a title contender. Maybe like DRX, PaperX, them, but I think that's all you could hope for if you're if you're in Pacific. Like, I don't think you're going to be able to overtake one of those two.
No, realistically, I mean, Excurate's been playing a lot of Jet, I see, but it's it's low tier games. He's been farming in some of the of the newer rosters he's just been thrown onto. So it'll be interesting to see, because I don't know, like, it feels like it's definitely somewhere that you're really good in CS. You come here, you play a Jet, you play a Chamber, something like that, you're gonna be popping surely. And one of the bigger names regionally, I think that's jumped ship later on in the game. So yeah, I'm really excited. We used to cover this guy at like 6 a.m. Remember those days, Tom?
Yeah.
Sometimes I wouldn't wake up.
Yes, I do. I
love those days.
The thing is, I always enjoyed and despised watching the Asia Counter-Strike, because you saw things you'll never see in any other
Excurate was the kind of motherfucker running through a smoke when he knew there were 3 guys close. He knew that they had shotguns, and he was like, yeah, I got an op, bro. Don't worry about it.
The Zeus one is always the worst. Nothing will ever, for me, nothing will ever beat that moment where I watched a team lose a 3v1 because a guy tried to Zeus someone from 2 meters away.
Yeah.
Like, and when he knew where he was, like, and he wasn't the one holding. There was like, it's the worst use of a Zeus I've ever seen, and I didn't think that's a sentence I'd ever say. Moving swiftly on, DRX, they're the same.
It's DRX. Yay.
Yeah.
Termy's in there still. Yeah, we're vibing.
Yeah, they've tried. They've used some of their like academy players in one of the recent tournaments, but by the looks of it, it's gonna be the same team. For the most part, it also doesn't seem like Team Secret have changed too much, other than NDG, who I don't know too much about.
No, I
Seems
haven't
like
seen him before.
Okay, he played in the Philippines. And in his last game, played Astra and Sova. So
yeah,
Astra, I'm guessing someone who can be a little bit more like flexible around that smoke role.
It seems smokes. Yeah, he's playing like 4 out of 5 smokers in his top pool, so seems to be his preferred role.
Yeah, like the thing is for Team Secret that I feel like they really have to be careful of is just like you're obviously trying to find upgrades. Obviously, it looks like I think dubstep has gone, which does make me a little bit sad, I'll be honest. But I feel like they need to do more, because that's the thing. I feel like T1's improving a lot. Bleed are coming in, and fucking when we've not even got there yet, but
it's insane.
Paper X, I'm gonna make a bold call, and like this is nothing to do with Jing. It's just that I'm a really, really big fan of Monyet. I actually think they could be better, which is, it's a bold claim considering how well
I can't say that with Jing. But I don't care who you name.
I understand it, but
nobody plays the game.
I don't even think like I think that Monyet plays a lot of different roles, and watching him play like Astra like an absolute lunatic, I think he's going to be so hard to play against. But yeah, I think Team Secret staying a little bit static for my liking if they are just going to keep like 4 out of 5 players. And that makes me a bit nervous for them.
The only thing I'll say about that, having consistent leadership, having an IGL that sticks around, a core 4 as well, like they have very little of the setup to do that all these other teams do, just in building protocols, fit in one new player. Like, it's something I wish more teams.
But you believe they'll be top 5?
Yeah.
Looking at all of this.
No.
Like,
especially with, and this is the problem. If everyone else was like sane, then fair enough. But because you've got teams like Bleed coming in with insane signings, it's a different ball game you're playing. It's like they've done what I wish most teams did in saying, nope, we believe in what we built in the first place. We believe it can carry us all the way. Fair enough, give them another swing at the bat. But if they beat Bleed, I will be shocked, let's say. So will Bleed's accountants.
That's the thing. If they beat Bleed, if they beat DRX, if they beat Paper X, like that's what I mean. That's top 3. So that means they can't get to the first 2 events already.
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm saying. It's like, I think, was it first event's 2 teams, second event's 3 teams, last event's 4 teams. So that's what I mean. They're basically playing for the end of the year.
Even then, they're like,
yeah. Even then, it's
are we comfortable that they're a top 4 contender?
No, but that's why I'm saying it's like, even if we were saying that, it's tough.
Yeah.
Now, Paper X minus Jing plus Monyet. I think obviously minus Jing always going to be rough. This team's still nuts. Like, guaranteed top 2. I would be gobsmacked if they don't finish top 2. I think like they've already proven that they can beat DRX without something. Now they've got to do it without Jing. But I think the Monyet, I am fully on the Monyet hype train. Like, I think this kid is unbelievable. I think he fits their style perfectly because he is insane. I've watched him play Astra and pop his own smokes, run into them with a shotgun, and come out with 3 kills. I've watched him drop, was it 39 kills versus DRX? Was that the number? Yep. 39 kills versus DRX. By the way, he lost.
Oh, wow. Regulation? No, OT, right?
No, it was OT. But even still, that's just absurd.
Oh yeah.
The kid is something special. I think he'll fit in perfectly there. And yeah, obviously you're going to lose some of the stuff that Jing's able to do, pulling out rounds. But I guess the best way I put it, I don't know if it will directly improve their team. But if I was going to choose anybody to replace Jing, that's as good as it gets. I don't think there's anybody else in the entirety of Pacific, even including DRX players, that would be a better replacement for him.
Yeah, fair. I think that's a fair call. Like the reality is, Jing plays a game like nobody else. His brand is like nobody else as well. Like I think that he's one of the reasons you have so many fans for Paper X, and the identity of this team as well. No Bankai, no Jing. They're slowly shifting, and well, maybe Monet's going to be the guy to bring him back on track. I don't think the Paper X are a squad I can never put outside of the kind of top 8 global anyways, so I still expect them to do great things next year.
Yeah, I still think they'll do fantastic in Pacific. RRQ is one where few changes made. I think Estrella is someone who I think most people have kept an eye on for quite a while because he was on like Down 1, F4Q, like he was playing with D+ for a long time. Solid player. I think a good signing. Someone who can sort of play a lot of those roles that I guess the way I put it is people don't want to play, like initiators, breaches. Like he fills in a lot of gaps. Good signing. Jemkin, I don't know much about him. He's someone who, again, you look at the statistics with him playing for Scars, it looked like he did pretty well. Had some decent numbers even up against Bleed, who I think everybody had as the very, 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 very obvious choice to win Ascension. Like, I wouldn't even have been surprised if the odds on that were 1 to 1.01. Like, it's just, it was blatant, but he seemed to succeed. And I guess the thing I'd say is I kind of trust their coaching staff. Like, throughout the year, they seem to build a really solid structure from doing like Pacific Watch parties. I always enjoyed watching RRQ.
Okay.
Elmi Moore as well. I still think he's hella underrated. Might actually have one of the best sheriffs in the entire game. The dude's insane. So again, it's hard to say if this will jump them up. I think that's the only thing is like, I like the signings they've made. I think the players that they've sort of swapped out might be the more obvious ones, I guess, and clearly they feel that way. Will it take them to a Masters? That's where I kind of find it difficult because I just think the rest of the region's too stacked. I think maybe it will get them up, like maybe they'll be able to get through like an LCQ or something, or like get like, I guess it won't be LCQ, but get there on points towards the end and challenge for the top 5. It's just difficult when other teams have spent insane amounts of money to make their team better, like T1 and Bleed.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're gonna go with anyone, like in all of Ascension, Jemkin was top in ACS, in KD, in APR, assist per round, in kill per round, like average damage per round. Guy was nuts. Like he was leading a lot of the stats. So I guess he's a sick player. Maybe the thing that's kind of off-putting about them is they don't, in my mind at least, they don't have that star player, that big name. But yeah, maybe he's going to be the next big name. You build around him. I think they got rid of, or not got rid of, but it says 2GE is their 6th now. Again, let me just check the thing. A possibility. So not even sure how likely it is. He might be looking for another team, just sat on the bench right now. Assuming they're IGL, Zvero. Is that what it is? Zvero? I'm assuming he's picking back up smokes because he was even playing them recently in some of their more recent games, not their most recent, but going back just a couple. So not too much of a role shift for anybody to try and fill that in as well. They get a guy who's, of the up and coming duelists, certainly up there. And this year, I suppose, year 1 of franchise, put it that way, has been a year where Demon 1 came up. And, I don't think a lot of people had any respect for him at the start of the season. Especially when you talk about like, oh, we signed him through an AIM Labs routine. It's like, okay, well, this guy's gonna suck, and then he's unreal. So could be his own little demon.
Sorry, I was just like I was sort of cheating. I was looking ahead,
Hmm.
and I've realized that Talon had Boy listed as a player and potentially as a coach.
Hmm. Yeah, I see.
So they plan to have him as two different roles of the
No,
team.
it's a
Very, very interesting way to look
you
at
can
things.
see the little down arrow means chance reduced. So I think he
Yeah.
was trialing as a player, and now they've
now he's
started
trialing as a
trialing him as a coach instead.
Interesting.
Maybe he's trialing and just seeing other guys going, okay, I can't compete with this, or I know that we're leaning towards this guy. But do you guys need a backup coach like Frost? You know,
Yeah.
you need some help.
No, it's
Frost.
it's an interesting way to do it.
I love Frost
I'd
as well,
say
by the way.
again-
Like this guy, he's been around the block. Let me say that. He's always fun to chat to. I think it'll be really cool to see what he's able to do this year.
Yeah, I think their team as well, like they've definitely gone a little bit outside the box. Like Governor being trialed again, someone who's playing for Turtle Troops in NA. Tix, who I believe was playing in the India League, which again is sort of like I'd say for a lot of players, like Eccles went over there. I don't know if it has the highest competition right now, so I feel like that's not the greatest proving ground in the world.
Yeah.
I don't mind the thought process. I do think, like, honestly, the player I like, Padapan last season for me was not that great, and
Sure.
I think Garnets and Jit Boys for me were better. So the fact that Garnets looks like he's on the way out is a little bit sad because I think that would potentially be a better mix. But
Okay.
Governor seems to put up decent stats in North America. Again, I don't know if this is going to be the way that rises them up to a highly competitive level. But I do think that Cruz, in terms of IGLs, is a little bit mental, and maybe that'll be enough that they can come out with some crazy shit, beat some good teams.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think. Oh, pardon me. I think Frost was obviously he was with 100 Thieves when they made a really good international run as well, and he coached there, and then he went to a management role. So I think he's been looking for that opportunity to coach. And again, one of those guys I have no doubt the second the contract comes in front of him to jump region, he doesn't give a damn about where that contract has him based. He's ready to go. So my understanding it's his first time. I'll get an angry DM if I'm wrong here, but I think it's his first time moving over to Pacific. Good luck. It's a different world over there. I know you're used to North America, but I don't know. You lose to DFM once, Tom's going to be on you. That's all I'm saying. So.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be fucking. I'll be watch partying. Don't
It's gonna
worry.
be like Brimstone just ulted, bro. Scorched earth. Just crush him.
I'm gonna be laughing. Now, we spoke about teams that went outside the box. Now, one of the main questions I had when Russ was signed is, does he count as an import? We found out yesterday, no, he does not. So that's good because. No offense to Russ, but if he was the only import, that was their one import, I was going to be quite worried about this team because I was thinking like, okay, in terms of like tier 2 imports from EMEA, he probably doesn't scrape into my top 10 if I'm being brutally honest. So, I mean from tier 2 in EMEA, not even considering some of the tier 1. So I was a little bit nervous for this team. I think Polvy's a fucking fantastic signing.
Polvy, man.
Like this guy has been unreal. This guy played matches from the hospital.
Yeah,
I don't know if people saw that.
He's set up by the nurses.
Dedicated as fuck.
I remember that the nurses brought his laptop, got him an internet connection.
Yeah,
he was there playing away. I've loved. I mean, big subscriber of Polvy's all the way back since day one. I think on OF as well. OnlyFins. Of course, he was always.
You need to specify.
I've always enjoyed watching Polvy on OF. So now I think an opportunity to see him do it on the international stage.
How old is he?
No, OnlyFins on OnlyFins, the team. Tom, get your head out of the gutter, please. Good God.
Right, but yeah, looking at the rest of the team, it's
nothing else of note.
The thing is with this team, right? Is I think it's going to be a fan favorite.
Yep.
I just don't know if it's going to be successful. And I think that's the hardest thing about it is like, am I a huge fan of Benkai? Yes. His in-game leading, I think, is good. But obviously, we saw Paper X rise to more success once he left. It's not arguable. It's factual. Lightning Fast, I saw barely anything of. And honestly, the one thing I remember about him was he threw a nade and hit himself with it. because he only played like 2 games, and that was the funniest thing that happened. Russ is a decent player, but wasn't really able to compete at the top of EMEA. So it's kind of like, for me, for this team to be good, it's going to be all about the structure and the teamwork that they built. Because I think on firepower, they're on the low end.
Well, let me ask you this. What's happening with SK Rossi? Because the listing there says inactive/academy. And I mean, only from the time of this recording, a couple hours ago, he won Esports Athlete of the Year within India, right? The guy's been a fan favorite for goddamn sure. And I know 99% that his mind is not, I'll just stream. It's okay. I think he wants to compete. He wants to be the best. So
yeah,
bizarre.
The thing is, I have a feeling he's either going to be their 6th or just like on G as something else. Like, as you said, like maybe doing content creation, because the others are all announced. So it's not like if they were going to change it, they've kind of left it a little bit late. So I can only assume that either he's going to be sticking around as like a 6th player and just wants to be part of the competitive scene.
Yeah.
Or he is just done.
I'm surprised though, because if he's out, if he's even inactive, I would have thought another team would have picked him up. Because
Really?
Yeah. I mean, Jesus, on brand alone, it would make sense to do so. He'd bring the fans with him, and I think he's got the potential, the skill ceiling.
But I guess that the problem is just like I kind of understand it from their point, because he was very on and off. Sure. I think that's the main problem I had with Rossi is it, like, when he was playing well, he was unbelievable, but when he was bad, he was gone. Like, it was just, he was not in the game at all. And I feel like for them, like, obviously it's important to have like the Indian supporters behind them, but I think this is almost their point of proving, like, yeah, but we also
more than that,
because like if you've met any of the owners or anyone behind that team, they want to win. They want to win really, really bad. So, like, I agree with you, like, definitely in terms of brand and stuff. But I think for the other teams, I think Global Esports is the only team that makes sense to do that off brand. Like, every other team is leaning into another region. So, like, it would be an odd mix.
Or it's a really well-kept secret.
Just don't even bother. Don't even waste my time. I know it was. Don't even fucking waste my time with like Detonation Focus Rossi. Like, I don't want to.
Maybe Lakia doesn't go to Gen G, and Rossi does. Does he speak Korean?
Cool.
No. Does he need to? Maybe.
On that team, probably not. Him hearing the comms would be a disadvantage. Nah. Anyway, enough DFM hate. Let's say something positive. Bleed. I'm excited. I'm excited because we've got fucking Yay back. We've got Scary back, who is one of the best controllers.
Scary.
Their whole team looks great. I'm sad that the youngsters weren't allowed to stick around and have ended up having to do like military service. Yeah. Legia as well, like, not a name that you expect to see too much after like him being very heavily involved in like German CS, like now being the head coach of one of the team's high expectations. I think that's the thing though with this team. There were high expectations last year. It was win or you're done. They won. Now they come in this year, probably the same expectations. I think they're going to do well, and I think that it's just so exciting seeing Yay back. Yay and Scary back has me so hyped. Like, don't get me wrong, I think the whole team has like a lot of depth to it, but those two players in particular, I'm just so excited for.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I mean, Egoist as well, the old X10 player. I think this is going to be the best team he's ever been on from his side. Also, I think we cast him, Tom, back on Team SMG, if you remember them from 2020, right?
That was a long time ago.
I knew it'd ring a bell.
Yeah.
That was one hell of a long time ago. A different world, a different life. Yeah. But
we didn't even cast that tournament together.
No, we didn't. Wait, I didn't hear your cast either, brother. I was asleep. Those are crazy early hour ones. But yeah, like,
I think I cast that with Ryan.
You did. Yeah, I was with James. Those are very early days. I still, I don't recall anything he did. I don't have any play in my mind or anything like that. I couldn't even tell you what agent he was playing back then, but the name rings a bell. Seeing him amongst these legends, though, hey, look, that's a huge opportunity, and I'm sure he's earned that. It's been a little bit of a break for him.
Yeah.
And I guess this is what he's been up to. Fair play as well to scouting departments, because not an obvious pickup. I think if you were especially looking at signings like Ye, I would expect to see, no disrespect him, but a bigger name stepping in there. So I think that it's a big step up for him.
Yeah. Well, there we go. We have completed Pacific. I don't know. Do you have a split decision this week? Do you have one ready?
No, I don't have one ready.
No, you don't.
I can probably
Like,
make
I don't
one.
have one ready, but I'm fairly certain I could make one up on the spot.
All right.
That will be interesting.
I'll go for it.
Okay. Paper X will win a trophy this year.
Oh, okay. A trophy. Are we including
a trophy? An international.
Thank
an
you.
international
because
trophy.
a regional trophy.
Yes, I don't even think that's
high
a
possibility for sure. International, I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna argue against that.
Okay.
I think the form we've already seen, a top contender, being FUT. We've already seen them on fantastic form starting off the year. We've seen a lot of depth to it. Seen Ed returning to Turkish Valorant. I think it would be a crime if they don't pick a trophy. Now,
FUT. Okay.
FUT. Hell yeah. Even if I think they don't, then Fnatic, right? They're at least getting one. I think I said in the last video they're getting two.
Yeah.
So that only gives one trophy for for anyone else to compete for, because I already think Fnatic are getting two.
Yeah.
So that's Fnatic FUT. GG everyone else. Unlucky guys. EMEA's year. Obviously there's a lot of other choices out there as well, but yeah, I think there are too many top tier teams out there for that to be my take.
Okay, so my counter to that will be, especially looking at like the first trophy of the year, because I think that's where the most opportunities are going to be.
For sure.
I think from Americas, in terms of like the top contenders, most of them have fallen apart. So like EG, fallen apart. Loud, fallen apart.
Probably fallen apart, yeah.
I think even still the vibes coming in will be bad, but
Morale
there's
is
a
high,
good
guys.
chance.
We're being held hostage, legally speaking.
Yeah, there's a good chance that like they've lost their analyst already, guaranteed.
Yes.
But like there's a good chance that like maybe Jorgamo goes, maybe Calm Boostio, like, and I think if any of them go, there's gonna be a period. I think the best chance for someone to win a trophy out there is Leviatán. They've made some pretty hefty changes. So I'd say that off the bat, I think that's going to be a little bit more difficult. Obviously, you've got the argument of like Fnatic. Don't get me wrong. I think there's still very much a contender. But other than that, I genuinely think the best option is PaperX. Like, I think that they still have the craziness. They still have that ability to go on runs. You see them go on a run with their fucking coach. Or, no, sorry, not their coach. Their streamer. Literally the penultimate tournament of the year, they managed to finish top 3. Then they go top 2. It's almost like it's meant to be that they eventually win a trophy. And I think that, yeah, sure, losing Jing, irreplaceable. But I think Monye is gonna bring some top tier like vibes to the team, allow a bit more flexibility, because he was a star duelist in his old team, but he can also play smokes to a high degree if they wanted to try and switch that around. I'm sure he can play an initiator. Everything else on that team has not changed. So I think they're up there. I think they're a top 3 contender for the entirety of it. And I think they're going to pip someone to the post. Also, Fnatic have lost Mini.
Yeah. I know. This was your argument
That's
last
going to hit
week
them
too.
the hardest on the first event.
I still agree with that point, and I just don't want to accept that roster won't be up there, man. It's I don't know. Maybe Mini's residual effects will still be lingering. They'll sit there, close their eyes, breathe deeply, and say, "What would Mini say?"
Pause, Boaster.
It's a fucking Force ghost coming in. Just start seeing him in all the reflections of the wall, like he's telling me to push A. Who is the voice? I mean, look, that's
it's like, turn your monitor off, Jake.
it actually is him competing on the other side of the stage. He's like, yeah, do the A play. God. Stack A, guys. Stack A. He'll never see this coming. Yeah, no, I agree with that. I still think, though, like, if I think Fnatic are not winning anything, FUT most certainly can. Team Liquid most certainly will, because they've got Enzo. Karmine Corp got more duelists than they know what to fucking do with, so I'm not too sure about that. But Navi back on form with Artis joining the roster again. Look, the last time I
That's
saw
true.
this roster was a top contender, so why not? Why couldn't they be a top contender again? And that's just within EMEA. Talking about Gentlemates, are they ready yet? I don't know, but they looked fucking unbelievable before. So a serious chance for them to do damage. I don't think it's international trophy
just so you
time.
know,
But
only 2 EMEA teams can actually make it. So.
yeah. But I'm just listing the ones that could, right, to actually win a trophy. And so I think like that's.
I'd say Gentlemates is a push.
Oh, Gentlemates
I'd say
for sure.
KC is a massive push. I'd say Liquid is also.
Oh no,
a
I was
push.
saying KC. They don't know. They have more duelists than they know what to fucking do it. So I'm not getting behind them.
So
I was
they're
just
not.
briefly dunking
I would
a
say
little bit.
Liquid. I think it's too soon. Like I don't think they'll be able to do it in the first one. I like my gamble from EMEA would be Fnatic, Na'Vi, or FUT. I think those are
safe
ones
bets.
Off the bat, I'd say like I think
time.
like teams like Vitality could in the future, but I don't know if they're going to hit the ground running. I think it's possible. Giants actually is also another shout, but it's whether or not like losing Rhyme, how much that's going to hit them.
Yeah, well, look, Redgar IGLing as well. I know the rumor is either Redgar or Loud, or Cloud. Sorry, not Loud. But
yeah, but then they'd still need another player. They're not just going to play 4v5.
Well, I think it's the rumor is more so about who's IGLing, right? That they
yeah. But I mean that doesn't mean like Redgar could just not sign.
Yes, of course. These are close to signing. Yes, nothing is guaranteed at the moment. But I mean the same for Team Liquid and so on with like with Enzo coming in and Mystic and Kaiko. It's all close to signing. Yumby and stuff being close to signing. Is everyone's contract running out? Is that what it is? They're not set for next year already, because even like Fnatic are listed the same way as being close.
I think it just stays like that unless they announce.
Yeah, okay, until it's out. Or in CNET's case, fuck him. Just leave him as close to signing. Possibility. Why not?
Yeah. But also, they've played this event with Mr. Farland and Cracks. I think it's just because they could, in theory, just go, oh, we're going to play with other people.
Yeah.
But I think other teams.
It could be
like, I think
the
if a team
database
comes
too.
out and goes, this is our 5 for the year, then he puts them all as, like, announced.
Yeah, I don't know if is CNET on the Valorant contract database. I don't keep up with that. Because I mean, even Rob said that there was an automated tweet went out because on the database there was a technical glitch, I guess, and it said Bone Cold had re-signed, but he hasn't. And Rob corrected that. Being I remember that's Vitality's manager.
Guess who's back?
Morgan.
Back again.
He retweeted it just saying like, this is why an automated bot shouldn't be linked
He's
to
just
this,
like,
it's not
Sender,
fucking correct.
you lasted 2 weeks as IGL. Get
Can
the
you
fuck out
imagine
of my
in
team.
the 3 or 4 hours, if I recall correctly, that it took their team manager to retweet that. And probably the reason Mulligan saw it was because he's probably getting messages from senators being like, bro, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Are you serious? This is how I find out? You don't even tell me? It's like, dude, it's a mistake. It's a glitch. Don't worry about it. So
he's like, oh, I need a new jersey. I burnt my old one in the panic.
But still a 10% chance that Na'Vi takes CNET. So I'm looking forward to seeing him get back on the private jet. Thanks for everything, FUT.
Yeah.
Fuck you guys.
Okay. So we've argued that one. Have you thought of something in the moment, or do you just want to end
What
it
I
here?
wanted to go with was DFM will be the best Japanese team. I don't know if you'll allow me to do that.
Done. Like and I'm gonna this just to make it fair. I'm gonna make no argument. So mine is no. Now you argue the reason why they will be.
Well, I like to give as much as I get, Tom. So I'll just say yes, and then I can come back to this.
No,
and ship it
because
if
otherwise
they
I've
do.
just won that argument because it is clearly
only
a no.
well, Tom, unfortunately, only time will tell. And if I'm right, I get to say that forever. So that makes me very happy. I take that as a win, honestly, already.
The thing with that team is that either they have to go international or they won't be the best Japanese team. Like it's simple as that, because either they would have to try and sign some of the players in the lower leagues who are Japanese, which I think a lot of those teams ended up as like mixed teams anyway.
But if they have
also,
3,
if they are good enough, they're going to be on Zeta.
Well, so if they had Zenfree, Anthem, and Takashe remaining, and then they actually signed Lakia, and we actually saw Lakia play. He didn't just sit on the bench for a whole year.
When is this becoming better than ZETA Division? Because so far you have named someone who played
Hold
tier
on.
one map for DRX 2 years ago.
Hold on. You're not ready for it yet. And then because he's not signed on my database and what I'm looking at, they get CNED in number 5. And then it's, I mean, who can compete with that?
That's not better than ZETA Division even still.
You think?
Imagine CNED with no supportive utility.
No, but listen.
He has to drop 40 kills a game.
No, listen.
Like, I'm sorry. It's like, firstly, they're not keeping Takage and Anthem. They're just
You don't
not.
think so?
And by the looks of it, they're not keeping Zemfree either.
Zemfree seems less likely, indeed, on the sheet than Takage and
less
Anthem.
than 10% likelihood that he'll stay.
Mm-hmm. That's
you like those odds?
Never tell me the odds.
I like those odds.
A wise man once said,
me. Oh, I lost.
Never tell me the odds. So who knows? As I said, only time will tell. And
well, here we go.
I was willing to give them the time of day.
Here are your split decisions for you down in the comments. Do you think that PaperX will win a trophy next year? Or have you been smoking crack and you believe the Detonation FocusMe will be the best Japanese team of the only, do you know what? I think the most likely way, I've thought of it, the most likely way for that to become possible. Okay. Do you know what it is?
They acquire ZETA Division.
ZETA Division stop being Japanese.
There is no other Japanese team. They are then
That's
the
it.
best.
That's how they become the best. They just they get rid of enough players that they're no longer majority Japanese.
And then you're going to argue
and then
Ascension.
By default,
there's Ascension team still better.
True, in the league, I guess. But you didn't specify that either. So at the moment, they're not even top 3.
That's rough. That's rough. I should have said in the league. That was a mistake.
Yeah.
At least I didn't go they'd be the best Korean.
I still don't think it matters. I still think you're wrong, but either
I think
way.
so too. The beauty of potentially having a clip where you were so toxic to DFM and you were incorrect makes me it tickles me a little bit. I get the tingles thinking about it, Tom. So
the thing is, I would genuinely be happy if their team wasn't straight arse, because then I don't have to
let me know. Do you actually think Tom would be happy if DFM won a game? Do you
yes.
People who've watched the watch parties, do you believe that? I don't know.
They're not going to believe that. But
that's what I mean.
The thing is, no, it's more so going in to every watch party 9 games in a row and knowing from the beginning they've already lost. It just feels like the biggest waste of time in the universe.
Don't get me wrong. I don't want them to win because they're better, necessarily. I would just like them to win.
You want them to go in with an equally bad team.
I want them to play like shit and still win. And it's happened before. If that happens, it will be the best day of my life.
They won 2 maps.
I will be
the whole of last season.
I will be celebrating the win for years to come. In fact,
they won 2 maps in the whole of last year. Or this year.
I like those odds.
2 maps.
Those are some good odds right there.
And yeah. The player that actually won them one of the maps is Korean. Just thought I'd throw that in there.
Who was it?
Suggest. He's
gone.
Ham. Takage had a good map in their other one. But either way, we're getting off. That is that. Done and dusted. Some horrific question. Well, one horrific question to end out the episode. But let us know in the comments below. Do you think the DFM are going to be the best Japanese team of 2024? If so, please seek help.
If so, you're in for a $5 random lottery draw. So make sure to comment, yes, I think so, in the comments.
Sure, go for it. Mitch will fund that. And yeah. Also, do you think PaperX will win a trophy next year? Either way, that has been it for Split Decision. We will see you again. Well, next week, we're going to talk about the upcoming Red Bull event, which we will both be commentating. So we'll see you then. Bye.